The Broncos win a thriller, their first home win of the season, and we've got it all covered coming up next on the Broncos Postgame Show. Hello, thank you for joining us here on the Postgame Show. I am Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. The Broncos win it 19-17. Nick, your thoughts?
The Broncos got an all-important W, and not to look forward. They got Kansas City next week, but this is exactly what they needed, a home win, first home win of the season. So great win, great team win. Yeah,
something for the home fans to celebrate here a little bit. Let's check out the highlights. A lot of field goals in the first half. The Broncos up 6-0. Russell Wilson, using his legs, makes a move, scrambles for 21 yards, and sets up a third Will Lutz field goal. Denver was up 9-0 at the break. Opening Broncos drive in the third, Courtland Sutton enjoying the sun a little bit. His 5th touchdown of the season, more than his last 2 seasons combined. Denver was rolling up 16-3, but the Packers rallied. A couple of fluky type of touchdowns here. Romeo Doubs there at the same time as PS2 dives for it. They catch it at the same time. The refs say the tie goes to the offense. The Broncos go 3 and out, and then in the fourth here, the next Packers possession.
Love, sideline through the hands of Dobbs, caught by Reed! On the ricochet, caught by Reed! If you hadn't seen it, you would not believe it!
Kevin Garland on the call there. Green Bay goes up 17-16. Jaden Reed with the score, but the Broncos come back with a nice drive, set up another Lutz field goal. This one, 52 yards. He nails it. He's made 12 straight. Green Bay, though, trying to respond. Jordan Love goes deep. PJ Locke there intercepts the ball. He's in the game because Kareem Jackson ejected earlier in this one, but it secures the victory, 19-17. The final. Let's go out to Empower Field at Mile High and check in with Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala.
Thanks, Phil. Eric, the Broncos finally get their first win at home this season. We could feel the energy inside the locker room from these players, how excited they were to get this win. What really do you think a win like this will mean for this team moving forward?
Yeah, well, I think you've got to build on it, right? And that one isn't enough. But I think what Sean Payton said after the game, which is that teams in this league that end up being good find ways to win games like this, and they find ways to make plays in the clutch, and they move on from mistakes. And I think the Broncos did both of those things. It was certainly not perfect tonight, but they were able to move forward from giving up a 16-3 lead. They're able to come back, retake the lead, and end up with a win. And I think if that can speak to what the character of this football team can be moving forward, that's a good sign. Well,
Eric, we have to talk about this defense. They had a huge stop in the final minutes of the game there on the Packers' final drive. Of course, PJ Locke gets the game-sealing interception. What did you just like about their effort today?
Yeah, well, Jordan Love obviously had struggled a little bit coming into this game, and I thought the Broncos did a nice job of making him continue to struggle at times. And he made some plays. There was the one in the end zone where Pat Surtain, I think, had as much of a touchdown as the receiver, and then kind of a weird one off a deflection. But for the most part, this defense played well. I thought they were better against the run in the first half, but largely did a nice job. And then, like you said, they made a play in the final minutes, and that's what defense is about in the NFL. It's not necessarily about being perfect. It's can you make the big play when it matters, and they did that.
And then wide receiver Courtland Sutton, he had a big day, already has 5 touchdowns on the season. We saw him make some really great plays on third down. Overall, what did you see from him?
Yeah, Courtland Sutton was really good, and you don't win the football game tonight without Courtland Sutton playing the way he did on third down in particular. Like you said, he was spectacular, had the touchdown, but several other catches too that kept drives going. He's a big target, sure-handed. Russell Wilson knows he can trust him. And I just think he showed why he's a big part of this offense. And, again, they don't win without Courtland Sutton.
Yeah. Well, we'll hear from some of the players in the locker room following this. But until then, Phil, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. We're back here in studio. Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. Nick, the Broncos offense, a lot of field goals, but in the end, they did enough to win this one.
Yeah, the Broncos field did a great job of moving the ball down the field. It wasn't as explosive as most fans wanted it, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, are you moving the chains? Are you putting the team in position? When you look at the Broncos inside the red zone, not a great day, but the one thing I do like, because I'm a very optimistic person, they showed as though they can move the ball down the field. 2 guys that did not get involved with the game plan last week got involved with the game plan this week, and that's Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Broncos country, I know you will agree with me. We need to see more of these guys. Hopefully we'll get that next week. But those guys did a great job. And oh, by the way, Javonte Williams, man, this guy continues to be a marvel, fighting back from that injury, but continuing to fight and for those tough yards. His longest run of the day was 21 yards, so that showed you he got a little speed.
Oh, yeah.
He got a little power, too, as well.
He's hard to bring down when he gets out there. The Broncos rushed for 145 yards. Let's talk about those two wide receivers, though, Nick. Sutton, 6 catches, 76 yards and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 5 catches, 64 yards. They had been facing a lot of pressure all week long after that Kansas City game, and they really delivered today.
Yeah, a lot of adversity for both of those guys coming into this game, and I know they were feeling the pressure. But I have to say, inside the red zone, great play design, great execution to free up Courtland Sutton for that touchdown pass. We need to see more of that. And then also, it wasn't as much of a volume we want for Jerry Jeudy, but still he got his hands on the ball. And he showed you if you get him the ball and you just put him in the right position, he's going to make something happen. So I'm happy for those two guys, and I'm happy for Russ as well, finding those guys and really getting them involved with the offense.
Yeah, Russ was super efficient today. Did not turn the ball over, which was crucial. 20 of 29, 194 yards passing, a touchdown. A nice day for Russ, I thought, out there.
Yeah, it's a nice day for Russ, and I know it's not these gaudy numbers that we're used to seeing around the NFL, but for me, at the end of the day, it's all about being productive and being efficient. If you don't turn the ball over, you don't give up sacks offensively, you put your team in a position to win. That drive at the end of the game to set up Will Lutz for that clutch field goal.
52 yards.
52 yards. And think about it. Will was one of those guys at the very beginning of the season that everyone was like down on him because he missed a couple of kicks. That's the guy that Sean Payton knows, and that's why Will Lutz is here.
Yeah. Well, here's the Broncos quarterback at the podium after the game.
I told the guys, we just have a great belief. Let's just play clean. Let's get up and down the field and do right. And you had some, Jerry had some big catches. Pete Ryan did some great things. I thought we got down the field. Javonte, Courtland had a great day. I think, but really started with the guys up front. They're the guys that made the difference in a close game like that. And then how clutch is Will Lutz? What a great, he did a great job today. He's done a great job all year for us. We got great confidence in him, and he helped us win the game there.
And let's talk about the other side of the ball. This defense was flying around, held the Packers to just 100 yards in the first half, gave up a couple scores there in the second half, but really a nice day once again. Two games in a row here for the defense.
Yeah, great job by the defense. Talk about a tale of two halves of the season. At the beginning of the season, the defense wasn't looking that great. In the past 2 games, they have been performed admirably. And you hope they're going to continue to keep this up defensively. But you got to be happy for these guys. I know the team, the offense, the defense, everyone is taking on the chin as far as the level of criticism. But they've come out and played. Yeah, there's a couple things that Coach Vance Joseph will have to clean up. But you still have to like the level of production they came out against the Green Bay Packer team that you knew they were going to be desperate and they were going to try to do a lot of things offensively.
Yeah, a couple of substitution things I think they can get cleaned up. Had to burn a couple of timeouts in this one. Nick, have you ever gotten to the ball at the same time as an offensive player and you're both fighting for it like that?
No, never. Those things never really happen to me in those instances. It's usually the ball is getting there at the same time I'm getting there to hit the guy. That's usually what happens with me, Phil. But I saw the play, and I think Coach Sean Payton would agree with me. And when you look at one of those plays, it's one of those bang-bang types of plays, and it's about who get their hand on the ball first. PS2 got his hands on the ball first. Anytime you get to the ground and you wrestle, sometimes the referees would give their call to the wide receiver because they're saying, well, he has the right to the ball just as much as the DB. But you always have to go, in my thinking, go back to the instant replay. Say which guy got his hands on the ball first, because just because you're on the ground wrestling for the ball, that doesn't mean that you were the guy with the sole possession at the very beginning. So that's an interception taken away from PS2.
Yeah, on the broadcast, he said because Surtain had his 2 feet down first, he actually completed the catch first. So, just a tough call there. And then the ricochet on 4th and goal there. That was crazy. But it did seem like the defense was flying around.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the defense did do a great job moving around. I know critics would say, well, it's against Jordan Love. But guess what? The guys on the Packers side of the ball, they got to lace them up. They get paid just as well as the Broncos do as well. So it's all about going out, showing what you can do, both on third down and inside the red zone. And I think, well, I don't think, I'm just going to tell you, I feel, and you should, give that defense and Vance Joseph some credit for what they've done over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, it seems like they've turned things around for sure. Here's what head coach Sean Payton had to say about the effort today.
Pleased for our players. This game's, after a while you see enough of it, the ability to kind of get on to the next play, put the adversity behind you, and it's going to come in each game. And, the teams that have that trait, generally fare better, and I was glad to see us do that. We had some tough breaks, tough calls, but you got to keep playing. And anyway, glad we ended up with the win.
And this team now 2-5 after the win, an all-important home win too. The Broncos had never started the season 0-4 at home. They avoided that today, and it seems like this team's still playing really hard.
That team looked like they were still fighting. Just go back to the Thursday night game against Kansas City. Those guys are still fighting to make some things happen. And for me, Phil, it's a continuation of that game, that loss in Kansas City. Now you're going to face those ketchup bottles again. That's right, I call Kansas City ketchup bottles. So knowing as though you get your first W at home, and now you put a defensive performance in back-to-back weeks together, for me, Phil, the expectations only go up for this team and for this defense.
They made plays when they needed to today, and it was offense and the defense playing complementary football.
Well, yeah, that's what you need to do, play complementary football. But just think about it. Think about how this game started. Think about what we saw in the middle of the game. Think about how the game actually ended. When we look at the first couple of games of the Broncos this season, they were on the opposite side of those types of plays, fumbles and interceptions. But now P.J. Locke makes a play to save the game. And that's the thing that this team has been lacking, game-changing moments. That's a game-changing moment, but that not only changes things for P.J. Locke and his level of confidence, but it should change the level of confidence for this team moving forward.
Yeah, Locke starting the season on injured reserve comes in and makes a big play there late in the game. Let's go inside the Broncos locker room and check in with Sydney Jones.
Thanks, Phil. We're here inside the locker room with safety P.J. Locke. P.J., first and foremost, first win at home this season. How does it feel?
Feels good, man. It always feels good going home with a dub, so, yeah.
We heard you outside the locker room here, just how excited you guys were here. We heard how loud it was. What was the emotions inside the locker room after the win?
Man, it was huge, man. Like I said, it was our first time winning at home. We always talked about getting in the groove, the difference between the groove and the rut, and now, we came out with a win, so now we got the balls rolling a little bit, so I guess you could say we're getting in the groove.
You got your first career interception, in such a big way as well. Can you walk me through that play?
We were in a half quarter. It's a backside half, and normally I just stay deep and I read the quarterback, and I seen him looking on the other side of the field, and I just took off with no hesitation and saw the ball in the air, and when I seen the ball in the air, I was like, it's mine. So.
Yeah. We've seen this defense improve each week the past several weeks. Can you just talk about the defensive effort here and how you guys have been able to step up each week?
I think every day, it's just about attention to detail. We weren't really good at that starting off, and I think we're getting back to getting our groove back in that situation. So I think it's just really attention to detail, and it started with practice. It's starting with, asking the questions that need to be asked. And I think we're moving in the right direction.
How can you guys take this momentum heading into next week with the Chiefs obviously coming here?
I think it's the same thing, the same preparation. I think we have a look success, you got to work harder. So I think it's the same thing, but we got to go in with more intention. So.
Well, PJ, thanks for your time. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Things happy there in the locker room, obviously, after this one. The Broncos still 2-5. They got a long way to go here, but a win next week, and boy, the tone will be a lot different.
Yeah, win next week against Kansas City changes a lot, and known as though you faced this team, I think 11 days ago, and how well you played against them defensively, all you needed was a little offensive boost of power, then, the Broncos would have won that game. So there's a lot of confidence for those guys in that locker room that they can beat this Kansas City Chiefs team. I know they went out and grabbed Mecole Hardman from the New York Jets. Not going to change anything defensively. You go out there, you play hard-nosed, tough, physical football. The crowd is going to be behind you. There's a W now. Now, once again, can you duplicate it in back-to-back weeks? That's what good teams do. They're able to find ways to win football games. You did it today. Now you need to do it again next week against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I guess areas that you want to see them improve, probably red zone, not settling for field goals there. And then, like we mentioned, cleaning up a couple of things on defense. Big win, though, for the Broncos. Feels good. A week-to-week type of league. Nick, you lose, you feel down about it the whole week. You win, feel up about it now. So,
you know what? Here's something that's strange, too. There were a lot of 1-4 teams that won today.
Oh, yeah.
So that tells you there's a lot of parity in the NFL and anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen in this league. So see if the Broncos, see if they turn the corner here and they can keep it rolling. Next week is a big one, obviously, with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. But today it's a Broncos victory, 19-17 over the Green Bay Packers. That's going to do it for us. For Nick Ferguson, I am Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.